Hello. As you may know, I am not only attempting to make minor nations great again, I am also looking at how to do Germany. Um, and I've been chatting quite a lot with different people about that. You may want to go and check out my video that was more or less a compilation of all the top players who play Germany, what they thought would make Germany like playable again. Um, which is in my tutorials section. So I have videos about competitive Germans, and some of them are maybe a bit negative, and some of them do have some things that I think we can go on. Um, so, and this list that I'm going to, this is a list review, by the way. This list I'm going to go through, this is from Rudy in South Africa. And Rudy is one of their possible WTC players. I think he's even the captain of what would have been their WTC team. I really hope that you guys get to go. It is an amazing experience, although I do understand it is quite expensive once you're coming from a different continent. So let me talk you through the list, and we'll see what Rudy thinks could make Germans competitive. This is a WTC list format, which means that if it's going by the last WTC, it will be armies of only. And it's a 13 order dice list, 1,000 points. I think just going off that, 13 order dice is in the low end of what can work. Not necessarily bad, but it really depends on what's in the list, right? So simply because if you have 13, 12 order dice range, that range, if you're going up against 16 order dice, you will be outmatched in the draw of the dice. So we may have to look at maybe getting one more order dice into that this list. But yeah, and the first weakness of Germans is you have to take a second lieutenant regular. You can't buy that inexperienced one unless you go. Unless you go theater platoons, which that sucks. I'm sorry, my phone is going all berserk right now while we speak. There's a new tournament coming up in Denmark, and everyone is chatting about it. So you have to buy that regular lieutenant. Not necessarily worth it all the time. So we're going to have to look at how to make that lieutenant worth his points, which is one of the things that I'm thinking about a lot. Unfortunately, quite often the Snap 2 action is not where it's at. Snap 2 can help in certain situations, but doesn't always do so. So, yeah, I'm sad about that lieutenant a bit. Let's see if we can make a Snap 2 lieutenant that actually works. Or a regular lieutenant that has, maybe if we run him like a small unit, like 3-man unit, maybe there could be something there. Storm Pioneers is a favorite. And this list of Rudy's, it has 1 man with a rifle. That'll be the loader for the flamethrower, which is the next one. So flamethrower. And then 3 machine guns. So it's a 5-man unit, and there are 2 Panzerfaust in it. Veterans. Very expensive, yes, but also very killy, right? This unit has a lot of bang for its bucks. And because they have 3 assault weapons in it, it's not something that you want to charge unless you have dedicated close combat troops. And even then, and I run Gurkhas, even then I would hesitate charging this unit, because you'll have to weather what they shoot back at you while you're charging, right? And then they're veteran, and they have tough fighter as well, and this turns into a dicey game, right? You might actually lose that close combat. So Storm Pioneers is a really good unit. I would even take 2, maybe, if we can find the points. I don't think we can, not in this unit, not in this list. Then in Osttruppen, Osttruppen is a really good, really cheap way of getting order dice into your list, and that is where I think we need to find one more order dice for this list, like one more unit of 5-men Osttruppen, shirkers, rifles, the basics, right? That's only 20 points for an inexperienced unit. That is extremely cheap. Medium mortar, inexperienced. I like this again because it saves the points. It does make you vulnerable to sniper fire, but that is something you'll just have to be aware of. And Rudy is, because he is bringing a veteran sniper to win the sniper duel. So possibly he can kill the enemy sniper, and the medium mortar will have free range of whatever it shoots at. And that medium mortar is just an awesome weapon because it doesn't really suffer for being inexperienced. Place it somewhere where it's in hard cover so that it can weather the incoming fire from the enemy's darker stewards, and then just start pumping out shots indirectly. The Nebelwerfer again, inexperienced, wonderful weapon. It splits up the enemy. Really nice. I like this a lot. And then we go to the support for this first platoon, and that is a Kugelblitz. Because, by the way, I didn't mention, this is a dual platoon. The Kugelblitz is a 9+ double autocannon tank. It's a closed top. It is absolutely terrible, not in a bad way. Facing it is really, really difficult because the Kugelblitz will shred whatever you're putting down. Veterans will get shredded because it'll place those 2 1-inch templates. It'll kill 3 men, basically, in this veteran platoon just by looking at it. At the same time, it has the forward-facing MMG, so it can split fire. All soft-skins vehicles will just die. All light tanks will die to a Kugelblitz. So it really, really is. It is possibly the best German tank. One thing is, it costs 205 points regular. So it is expensive. It is. But it is really, really good. And you won't see many people fielding 9+ tanks. So you will be the only big tank on the field. And there won't be 10+. I can guarantee that for any competitive tournament. Which again means that that tank, that one Kugelblitz, has better chances of surviving than most other things on the battlefield. And most things will not have the anti-tank capabilities to deal with it, because the 9+ tank is invulnerable to small arms fire, to light anti-tank weapons, such as anti-tank rifles and light autocannons. It can just ignore it and just push up and kill stuff. Really, really like the Kugelblitz. Fielding it, don't like facing it. So, second platoon, again we have a lieutenant, again we have a Storm Pioneer. This is the second squad of Storm Pioneers. An Osttruppen. But both of these units are exactly the same as before. Medium mortar, inexperienced, Nebelwerfer, and another Kugelblitz. Now, one thing I would change, Rudy, is you already have one Kugelblitz. That Kugelblitz will shred enemy armor, no sweat. And you're splitting up the enemy forces with those Nebelwerfers. You might think about putting those Nebelwerfers next to each other, like down somewhere in hard cover, center table, and then the lieutenant right behind them, and then snap 2. And snapping both Nebelwerfers at the same time, especially if they can see the same targets, because that means that they can fire at something. Like, say the enemy has to clump up somewhere, and you can see one of those units that's in a little clump. Shooting both Nebelwerfers at once means that you can shoot twice, 2 dice on each of those units that you want to hit. That's really something. Then the multi-rocket launchers have a chance of actually killing stuff and not just splitting him up. So that's a good little tactics. Um, Back to what I was saying. I think that one of these Kugelblitzes need to go and be replaced by a Panzer One or preferably a Polizei tank, and that will give you a few extra points to buy some more shirkers. Because I think you're too light on infantry, and I think you also need something. You need some sort of transport for the Storm Pioneers. So buy one extra Osttruppen and maybe a Hanomag or something. Something to a truck, maybe. Something to transport your pioneers up so that they can get to where they're going. Because right now they have no transport, which I don't really like. That's the only thing that I don't like about this list. So I think one of the Kugelblitzes needs to go. And that is basically my feedback for how to make a competitive German list. I really like the list. I really like the use of the Kugelblitz, but I don't think that a double Kugelblitz is worth it. We saw a very similar list to this at the WTC in the hands of one of the German team players, and it did horrible. It really did not work. Of course, that was also a bit with the matchups, how it got matched up. And against my army, which did well at the WTC, right? My Gurkhas, I won most of my games, but against Uwe, the German player playing this list, which was very similar to this. It had double Nebelwerfers, double mortars. It had a lot of shirkers. His list shredded my units, but he lost the game because he didn't have enough infantry. Don't fall into that trap. That is my advice. So, Rudy, let me know what you think. Cheers. Bye.